Hello and welcome to the channel. So in this short series I'm going to be talking about how I managed to get second in a national indoor karting competition called the BIKC, the British Indoor Karting Championship in the UK, on my first ever try. Now my background in racing is pretty limited. I did a bit as a kid, but as the classic tale is, never had the money to carry on and ultimately had to give up after 13 years old. Didn't step back into a kart until I was about 24, so I was a bit rusty, and I've been practicing for about a couple of years before this video was taken. So here I am in the BIKC local finals. So this is at Team Sport Docklands. You have your local finals after you do 3 months of qualifying. The top 24 drivers then get to go to the local finals. To be fair, there wasn't 24 drivers. I'm in the heavyweight class, quite a big boy, about 94 kg, with all my gear on. And here I'm in the practice, so just trying to get some time on track, trying to learn the track. It's been I've been practicing a lot, but and as you see this guy go into the barrier, he's a bit angry with himself. I sent it up the inside, thought the position's done, but then he decides to lunge me back, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? We're in practice, mate, not qualifying, not in a race. Why'd you decide to lunge me? Just let me go, shaking my head there, just in disbelief, just because he just put me in the wall. It doesn't seem that bad on camera because of the stabilization, but he did send me into the wall there. As we got another guy coming up in front, I tried to get a better exit and set him up, and I get him pretty easily. Luckily, this guy is a bit more amicable. He sees me, gives me the space. I go around the outside, check it over my shoulder just to make sure he doesn't dive bomb me. But no, we're all good. Now, in this session, obviously, we're just practicing. There's nothing on the line here, so like I said, that guy, I don't know why he decided to lunge me back as if he was going to gain anything. We're just trying to get some clear space, maybe even just follow the guy in front if he's faster, try to learn a thing or two. Skipping ahead a little bit here, just thought I show this bit here, so just catching on to the back of this guy. As you see, he just took a wrong line there, sent it in a bit too deep. Wasn't able to catch him on the exit, but yeah, his line's all over the place, really wrong. Not sure what he was doing there, not sure what he's doing there, just a little lesson in what not to do in every single corner of the track. Now we go into the top of the bend there. I always manage to get that one wrong for some reason. Can never just quite get the line right in there. I guess I'm just doing the same thing over and over again, not really improving. And that's really the trick, really, is to try and do something different every single lap until you figure out what is the fastest way. But unfortunately, in these kind of karts, there's no timer, there's no delta on the wheel or on the kart. You don't really know if you're going faster or not. It's more based on feel. And if you're new to karting, whatever, and you think, how do I know I've gone around the corner faster? And ultimately, there is no answer. If someone says, oh, it just feels faster, well, yeah, that is the best answer, because it's all about feel. If you want, the best way to improve your karting is to get GoPro and compare two bits of footage side by side and see which one it does better, and then just figure out why one lap was faster than the other in each particular corner. I'd say that's the best way. You don't have any timing devices. You're not allowed your own timing device on a kart like this. So yeah, it's kind of like just figuring it out as you go along. But yeah, it's harder. So improvement, especially when you get to this sort of level, when you're kind of just fighting for a few tenths here and there, it's really hard to try and figure out where to find the time. So here we're in the qualifying section now. I did skip ahead a little bit just to get out of the practice bit. So here I'm trying to set the fastest lap time, and unfortunately I don't really have the fastest lap time on camera. You're going to find a running theme of me in this page is that my GoPro just runs out of battery, or I forget to put in a fresh battery before every session, and in the end of it just decides to disappear from the ether. So I can't show you the absolute fastest lap time, but to be fair, all the lap times of this session were around the same time, around 45 dead. Got all the times up on the screen right now, as you can see. So skipping ahead now to the actual race, warming up the tyres here as we line up on the grid. I ultimately qualified in third, which I thought was pretty good considering all the karts were all over the place. I feel like the guy in first did pretty well. The guy in second, who's the guy I'm actually trying to keep up with, Lewis, he's exceptional. He's won the BIKC local final here 3 times in a row, I think. So as we get off the line, get a pretty okay launch. Try to keep around the outside here because it means you've got the inside for this corner, and I don't want anyone going up the inside of me. Drop the visor down and tuck into the mayhem. And behind us, there's about another 10 carts, which you can't see, but we're not looking behind us. We're trying to look as forward as possible for as long as possible. If you look backwards, you're just going to go backwards, as they say. So trying to tuck in here, and obviously these guys, they're really, really good. The guy in front made a bit of a mistake going into that section. Lewis gets a very, very good launch out of that section, and he's immediately kind of on the back of this guy. Coming around now to the second to last corner, and me and Lewis have obviously gone to prioritise the exit here, and the guy in front just hasn't. And Lewis has immediately gone for that move. He's seen the opportunity. I've tried to go lunge him here, and I should have maybe pushed him out a little bit more. Maybe try to get some space, but as you see, I've been a bit too kind, and then that's just left me open and exposed for the guy in fourth. Luckily, I'm a bit too aggressive, so I decide to stick around the outside and keep the position, and nothing lost there. And you see, that's the problem with being the cart in between. If you're in between one guy ahead and one guy behind you, and you go for a move as he makes another mistake ahead, then you're always at risk of being overtaken yourself. So you really have to make sure it sticks. So going into the second to last corner, again, I prioritise the exit, and I've done the same thing as Lewis has done. Done a nice switch back on this guy. Then I'm going to close off the inside of this corner to make sure he doesn't come back at me. And job done. Taken second place. And now my time has come to go after Lewis. As you see, he's already got a nice gap ahead of me. And this is one thing I didn't see, is fair play to the guy third, lunged me out of nowhere. And you can see me kind of raise my hand and shake my head, because I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I got the move done. I got past him, and I just let him go. And I think I realised that I was losing a bit of time, maybe like a tenth or two, and he just saw the gap and went for it. And, you know, truly fair play to him. I couldn't fault him for that move, because that was all on me. So now we're gonna have to try and chase him down again and get past him once again. So going now, I think, into the fourth or fifth lap here. The fourth place behind me is probably about the same distance as I am to the guy in front, but I think I was a little bit faster. And you can see here, he was taking a much narrower line through that corner. I've been used to taking a higher line to try and get a better exit, but I think in this car, I just didn't have the grip to be able to hold the narrow line, because sometimes the carts and the front end grip of these carts sometimes can be vastly different. You go into one has a really great front end grip, one just has no front end grip at all. You'll be yanking away at the steering wheel, and all you get is understeer. So going again, you can see here he's looking over his shoulder. He's sensing me. I've only probably caught him up by a tenth or two on that last lap. So trying to settle into the rhythm again. I think I was a bit put off by being overtaken so easily and just letting it pass. And you know, that can kind of get in your head. Sometimes when you're racing, you get overtaken and you can fall backwards because you're getting into your own head and you make mistakes and so on. So it does take a second or two, a lap or two, to try and regain that composure and to think forwards and try to put in some really consistent lap times. You see there, I caught him up by quite a bit. I think I caught him by about half a second, maybe 6/10. And here he's going super narrow in the entry, and it was just costing him all that time on the exit. And since we're in the heavyweight class here, the number one thing you have to do is always prioritise the exit. And you see there, and he went narrow and I went high, and I think ultimately we did end up just kind of netting the same amount of time, but in the short run to the apex, he does gain. But here he's just losing so much on the exit. And this corner here, in the big spoon curve coming out there, and you see here I've gone to the inside a little bit just to try to see if he opens up, but he closed up the inside. I've gone again to prioritise the exit, and ultimately just didn't have the pace, and so I have to settle in again. But again, it goes super narrow, and I've gone a bit wider on the entry to try and open up the exit, and ultimately caught up a little bit there. But then you gain all the pace right at the top of the hill. But again, in that corner, he was just gaining on me 1 or 2 tenths, but then probably losing on me about 4 or 5 tenths in everywhere else. So, you know, you can be really, really good in one corner, but unfortunately you just have to be good everywhere else at the same time, otherwise you're going to lose. Here again, he went in too fast in the entry and is not prioritising the exit of the corner too much, and ultimately loses out in the long run. So coming out of here, again, just didn't have quite enough of a differential speed to be able to get past him. I thought about a move, snatched the brake there because I knew we were going to crash. And if I bump into him, that's a penalty for me. And everyone else behind me was close enough that if I got even just a 5-second penalty, it would have dropped me down the order and I probably wouldn't have qualified. So you do have to be careful in these races. You will get penalties. There are more rules in these sessions rather than just a regular member session or a regular 3-for-2 session on a weekend. You will get penalties. You do have to be within a certain weight class. You have to be, for a heavyweight, you have to be above 90 kg. Don't know what I was doing there with my hand. I think I was communicating with the guys on the sidelines. And here, he just got a really bad exit. And I just tried to stick my nose in front. Almost had enough of the nose, but again, not enough. So he didn't have to give me the space. Ultimately, if you don't have 50-50, half of your kart alongside their kart, then they don't have to give you the space. And if you spin them out, you're the one getting the penalty because you're the one in front, behind. So the guy in front does not have to give you any space unless you've got half a kart alongside him. And at that point, I only had really my front wheels. And again, see, I was just getting such a much better exit out there, going in a bit slower, braking a bit earlier, and getting a really good exit. He looks over his shoulder, he closes off the inside. To be fair, he has to close off the inside there, and then here, I just managed to get my nose in front, go right down the inside, and then absolutely dominate that inside line so that he can't get back at me. I look behind me just to make sure he's there and give a big shake of the head there, just in frustration at the fact that it took me so long to get past him, because now first place is absolutely gone. You cannot see. He's probably on the other side of the track here. Yeah, I think at this point he was he was just around that 2 corners ahead of me there. I think it was a good 10 seconds ahead. And that's the problem with these races. You spend too much time fighting with everyone around you that you just end up losing time. So you might as well just either cooperate and go along with each other and try to fight right towards the end. But some people just think that they can defend the whole race, which is ultimately not true. But yeah, so that's pretty much the end of that story of the local finals. Nothing else really happens. I end up coming home in second, Lewis in first. Faye just took off, so a third BIKC win for him. And yeah, stay tuned for the next story for the BIKC regional finals.